Hello, ladies and gentlemen of Co-Founder Club and Startup Sales Mastery. Good afternoon or good morning, whatever time zone we are in. My name is Keith, and welcome to Financial Friday. This is our Startup Sales Mastery podcast. We run it every single day. And as I said before, Financial Friday, you see the comments. One day a week, we're actually going to talk about the financials for startups and Co-Founder Club. We are the community for early stage founders. We all come together, and the idea is we help each other to conquer the world. And Startup Sales Mastery is my program where I show all you founders how we professional sales pros do things to get customers. And yes, Startup Sales Mastery sponsors and finances the entire show. If you want to know how to get customers for your startup, you should see links above. Click on any of those links, go in. I give away some of the free content. Just take away the most important stuff, watch it, enjoy it. It's yours. And then if you want the premium section, it's not exactly expensive. And if you want to work with me, get in touch, of course, as well. Now, let's get on with the podcast, video podcast for the day. Rory Mullett is our international financial advisor. He doesn't like the term accountant. He likes the term financial advisor because that's actually what he does. Goes to show what I know about the financial stuff.
It's trendier. You know, accountant is your Uncle Mo. You know, who's always complaining about his ulcer. You know.
Oh, I don't just
Financial
deal with my
advisor
numbers. I don't want to know. Deal with my numbers, buy Bitcoin, sell it before it crashes, give me my money. That's all I want to know. Rory, talk to me. Obviously, international is where you like to shine, and Europe is where we're going to start our conversations for the next couple of weeks. Now, last time to start the ball rolling, we spoke mostly about Ireland. That's where you're from, that's where I'm from, and that's where pretty much every single big tech company goes. And there's a reason for that. And I told everyone, if you want a something in Ireland, by all means get in touch with us, and we will sort you out. However, UK is what we're going to talk about today, and there are a lot of advantages to go into the UK. Brexit, there's positives and negatives. UK itself, there's positives and negatives. Rory, talk us through, what are we going to talk about today?
I think today we'll talk about the UK corporation, UK company, limited company. We're going to compare that to the Irish limited company, and we will compare it to the Israeli limited company, and we'll just talk a little bit about the advantages, disadvantages of UK limited company and why someone would consider setting up a UK limited company. So first things first, UK limited company, the corporate tax rate through UK limited company is 19%. VAT rate is 20%. So it's obviously lower than corporate tax rate is lower than Israel's, which is at 23%. And I think you have a VAT rate there in Israel at 17. So the VAT rate in Israel is slightly lower, but in most cases, VAT isn't applicable when you're dealing with any sort of international trading entity. It's usually only domestic transactions that are subject to VAT. Export, anything that involves export or international, is outside the scope of VAT. You there, Keith? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just thought I'd kick back and let you talk and share your information. I don't really have anything to add. When it comes to this stuff, I hand it to you. I have my local accountant. I have my financial advisor, as it were. I mean, really, here's what's sort of relevant. I'm a startup entrepreneur. Most people watching this are startup entrepreneurs. We're founders. We have tech companies. At least most of the people in Co-Founder Club have tech companies. And of course, the majority of the people coming over to Startup Sales Mastery, it's all tech. This is what we specialize in. And the question is really this: from a financial perspective, how can we improve business? Okay, how can we do things better? Now, having different companies in different locations, of course, are great for not having to charge VAT, for lower corporations, lower this. It's good for authority. We get better authority. We have multiple companies in different places. So this is sort of really what I was hoping, you could go through with us. With regards to the UK now, of course, there's a few things. Number
exactly.
one,
Well, look, you hit a good, yeah, exactly.
I was just going to say, because then I'm literally going to send you back to the.
Yeah,
I'm going to send you back to the one screen, because I know you know about the VAT. I know you know about the corporation tax. I know you know about positives and negatives as UK as your European base, as opposed to Ireland or any other country. And of course, I know perfectly well, because you've helped a few people, that there are grants and other financial implications and benefits of having a base in the UK. So again, I'm going to leave it with you completely. I'm going to let you share, but these are sort of the 4 points that, I mean, most people I know as startup entrepreneurs want to know. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. Well, again, we're going to compare and contrast the Irish company, UK company. Again, we're talking about startups, talking about entrepreneurs here. So I guess the main thing, if you have a startup, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a business idea, depending on what level stage it's at, you got to raise finance. You've got to, in the case of technology companies, you got to develop your MVP, minimum viable product. You've got to start investing from day one, in development of your product, of marketing. Unfortunately, you've got to spend money to make money, particularly in the technology world. So in most cases, unless you want to bootstrap it, you're going to have to get some sort of investors involved. And again, to compare and contrast UK, Irish company, it's one of the advantages of setting up an Irish or UK company is you open yourself up to a whole new pool of investors that are looking for investment opportunities. So particularly the UK, I think, is very good for investors. So we'll discuss investors first, then we'll discuss grants. So on the investor side, the UK, particularly London, City of London, London area, there's lots and lots of investors looking for startup businesses with potential to invest their money in. And obviously, UK company is what they're looking for, UK corporation. If they're going to be making an investment, they're going to feel more comfortable with that. And, in most cases, they'll insist on that. So, I'm not sure if everyone is aware of it, but, London is probably one of the biggest financial centers in the world. It's probably bigger than New York, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion. So it's a major hub if you're looking to raise money, get investors, which is what any startup or entrepreneur is. It's going to be high on his priority list in order to grow, expand, compete. So London is the place to be if you're looking for investors. I've got quite a large contact list of people with money that are always looking for an opportunity with potential, but almost all of them will insist on a UK corporation. So that's definitely one major reason that you would want to set up a UK corporation, to expand your pool of potential investors. So definitely major reason to set up a UK company in that case. And I particularly think the UK company is particularly suitable for that because, as I said, particularly in London, a lot of investors looking for investment opportunities, and UK companies the way to go on that. In terms of grants, because of the fact both of us have grown up in Ireland, I've done a lot of business in Ireland. Ireland is probably the jurisdiction that I know best. There would be more grants available in Ireland, particularly backed by EU funding, EU money. Of course, as everyone knows, the UK has left the European Union, so there's less European money available for startups through UK corporations. So if you're looking to access grant funding, government-linked money, particularly EU, the EU funding, Irish corporation is the way to go for that. Now, I said advantages, disadvantages. In a lot of cases, you're not giving up equity. An investor in the UK will look with your UK company. He'll look for equity shareholding in exchange for investment. But generally, they'll move fast on things. You're not going to be waiting a long time and having to fill in a lot of forms. Whereas with With a grant, there would be more paperwork involved. Again, that would be my specialization. So anyone out there that's has a business idea that's looking for funding through grant funding, I will be able to facilitate that in Ireland once an Irish company is set up. And if you want to go to startupsalesmastery.com and reach out if you have an idea that you would be looking for grant funding for, or any type of funding, again, I can handle all the paperwork. And again, that's the point. The paperwork is the biggest headache with getting grant funding, but you don't have to give up any equity shareholding. It's simply a grant to your company that you in some cases don't have to pay back at all, which is what have I done to deserve this generosity kind of thing. But yeah, it's a long road of paperwork. Thankfully, I have a lot of experience of going through all that, and it's certainly the Irish company is the way to go for that. But UK company on the investment side, better way to go. Other advantages of UK company, their payment processing rates are incredible. With whether you want to process Visa, MasterCard internationally, US cards, European cards, you're talking less than 1% to process cards with certain processors that I would have contacts with as well. So really, really, really good rates on payment processing depending on the type of business you're in. So again, that would be a major advantage. And I know that through conversations I've had with Israeli entrepreneurs that they're paying quite high rates on payment processing. In a lot of cases higher than 2%. So UK particularly good rates on payment processing. Another major advantage of UK corporation. VAT, as I've discussed with you before, on international transactions, VAT isn't applicable. So if you set up a UK corporation and you're an Israeli entrepreneur and you have a client in Israel, if you bill them through your UK corporation, you're not going to have to charge VAT on that. And I believe the VAT rate is, I think, 17% in Israel. So it's another advantage from a tax planning point of view, that if you got an Israeli client, you otherwise may have to charge them, depending on the specifics of the case, 17% VAT. But if you route it through a UK company, you're not going to have to charge any VAT on that, because it would be outside the UK jurisdiction and it would be VAT exempt in that case. So again, from a tax planning point of view, another major advantage of a UK corporation. So I don't know, any other questions you might have? I'm kind of rambling on a bit there. Any other questions you might have in relation to UK company, or rates or tax rates or deductibles? Of that, the standard corporate tax rate with the UK company is 20%. The rate of VAT is 19%, but in a lot of cases that won't be applicable unless you have unless you're charging a UK client. But again, if that's business to business, that can be claimed back. So, but the standard corporate tax rate is 20%, which I believe it's 23% in Israel, the corporate tax rate. So again, you've got a saving on that rate as well.
Okay, sorry, I'm doing comments with people. People are asking comments, so I'm back and forthing here. Okay. We hear you loud and clear. If anybody else has comments, we were just having a comment there about getting lists of VCs, angels. I mean, the quick answer, I'll just say it out loud. Carola, if I've pronounced that correctly, I probably haven't. My apologies. I'm going to send you a list. I have the, well, of course, we all have private lists, but like Angel VC or go on to crunchbase.com, places like that, you will literally get the list of everybody in the industry. You know what? Now that I think, I'll put that in the comments. Crunchbase.com. You know Crunchbase, right?
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't?
So this is and again, things like Crunchbase and all that is by sector. So you can, UK, Ireland, Israel, US, whatever you want. She knows. Wonderful. Okay. I mean, look, Rory, tell me a bit more. Sorry, I was getting caught between the two things, but that's sort
Yeah.
of that's really it. What would you say to, the early stage tech entrepreneurs out there that are sort of saying in terms of the value? What's the cost? What's the real cost of opening a UK entity? And against that cost, what would you say would be the value? Our usual example, somebody doing 20,000 a month in SaaS recurring revenues. What are we talking about?
Okay, well, the cost of setting up a UK company is super cheap. You're looking at about 100 euros, $100 approximately. That's the cost of setting it up. And again, I've got to get rid of a major misconception myth that's out there. You do not need to be a UK citizen to have a UK corporation. You can be a citizen from all over the world, anywhere in the world, and you can set up a UK corporation. The UK company structure is very, very flexible and open to foreign non-UK investment. So basic cost of setting up a UK company, it's about $100, €100. And if you're an Israeli citizen, if you're an American citizen, if you're, I don't know, if you're from the Middle East, if you're, United Arab Emirates, wherever, you Brazilian, see a lot of Brazilian investment in the UK. I know you've done a lot of work with Brazilians back when we were working together in Ireland. So you can, from all over the world, you can set up a UK corporation. You don't need to be a UK citizen. Cost is about 100 euros, $100. And then cost of maintaining it will depend on the volume of business that goes through the UK company. There's more filing depending on the volume of trade. But you gave an example there of about a 20,000 a month turnover company. I would estimate the cost of maintaining a UK company on that basis would be about 100 to 150 euros or dollars a month to manage and maintain a UK company of that level. That's just keeping the filing up to date, keeping the company active, and enabling you to use the company for possibly transactions in order to minimize your VAT bill in certain jurisdictions. To minimize your corporate tax rate, you may want to route transactions through UK corporation. And also, as I just discussed, if you're looking for an investor and you want to sit down and negotiate investment, cash for equity kind of deal, the UK corporation will be the vehicle that you'll use to do that. So that's what you're looking at. Cost 100 setup, and between 100 and 200, somewhere between that a month, depending on volume. And I said in the case of your example, about 20,000 a month.
Okay, so basically Ireland, UK, give or take the same. We're talking about 1.5 to 2,000 all in for the year to have your company. And obviously the advantages of having those companies is benefiting from tax, corporation tax, VAT, international sales, exposure, authority, multiple locations, multiple what's it called? Relief. Of course, every time you open up these things, you have a certain threshold, which there's more benefits, grants, opportunities with international investors, different equities. So the list just goes on. And this is sort of what I want to get across to people. Is it complex if you don't have any kind of European, documents, information? Yes, it is complex. That's why we have people like Rory that actually know how to do these things and get the job done for you. So Rory, thanks for coming on. And we're going to be talking about this, every single week, different things. We'll start to mix it up. But one of the best things that you can do from a financial perspective, other than, a standard profit and loss and liquidity and balance sheet, this is stuff that we should need to know. But from the international perspective, it's so easy to do these things, especially Europe. I know soon we're going to be talking about the US, but Europe is more of a speciality right now. The last thing I wanted to ask, Rory, Corona. We know what's happening in the world right now, okay? Is there any benefits, extras, things going on sort of in the UK that, it's still active? Are people still investing? Are all these things still available? Are the benefits still there? or is there a bit of a lag?
No, the benefits are still there very much in the UK. Investors are still, looking for opportunities. I mean, one of the things about this whole COVID crisis, has shown how well a lot of technology companies have done, particularly with home working, remote working, how well they've done relative to the traditional economic sectors, like restaurants, hotels, construction, stuff like that. So I would say, if anything, based on the contacts colleagues I have in the UK, if anything, the appetite for UK investors for technology linked businesses, particularly technology linked businesses that can continue to trade and do business even in a lockdown situation like most of the world has been living in at the moment. There's a huge appetite for businesses, for investment in businesses like that. So on the investment side, depending on the type of business, so, and I know that a lot of your clients are technology companies, tech companies. Those in particular are still very much in demand investments from UK investors. So yeah, no, certainly COVID hasn't affected the amount of investment funds available for those type of businesses. If anything, there's more funds available, more of an appetite, with more of an aversion to the restaurants, hotels, those type of sectors, and it's almost like they're overcompensating for that. They're saying, all right, we're going to take the money that we'd allocated for property-backed investments, and we're going to push them more towards technology-based businesses that can continue to do business in a lockdown type environment. So if anything, things are even better for those type of businesses.
Okay, fantastic. A couple of people have asked, the whole process. We're not really going to go through the whole process because it's simple.
We'll do that
complex.
next week. Well, we can do that next week if people really want to know. If they really want to know the details, I'd recommend get in touch with you.
One-on-one.
Yeah, speak with me because one-on-one. Exactly.
Do you have European citizenship? Do you have UK citizenship? Do you not? Do you have this? Do you have? It can be a bit of a process.
Yeah.
You don't need to be, but the paperwork and approaches, of course, are different when it's getting done. Okay, fantastic, Rory. An absolute pleasure. I'm wrapping it up. UK
great.
companies. So look, everyone. Financial Friday every single week. Me, of course, I go every single day except for weekends because I spend time with my people. And quite frankly, you don't want to hear from me every single day. I don't have time for this anyway. This is the Startup Sales Mastery podcast, where I, sales professional working with early stage startups, just share with you one thing every single day that I know how to do, which is, of course, geared up towards getting customers. And this is part of actually sponsoring, if I'm to say it accurately, Co-Founder Club. And the Co-Founder Club community is all about all of us founders coming together to conquer the world. And that's what we're going to do. A pleasure. Good luck. I'll keep an eye out for the comments in case there's more comments coming in. Take care. Good luck. Thanks, Rory. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.